Hello ladies and gentlemen, Devon from DCON here, and I have to admit I was a bit of a skeptic of the Nintendo Switch. It's not that I hate Nintendo or that I thought the concept of the Switch was a bad idea, it's just that I thought it was going to be a bit too underpowered for the home console market, and a little too large and unwieldy for the portable market. I thought only the hardest of hardcore fans were going to love it. Clearly I was wrong, and before I talk about what made the Switch so successful, I wanted to cover the specs and tech real quick. The dimensions of the Switch is 9.4 inches in width by 4 inches in height by 0.55 inches in depth. And with the Joy-Cons connected, weighs just under a pound. The display is a 6.2 inch LCD touchscreen with a resolution of 1280 by 720. Despite the low resolution, the screen is absolutely gorgeous, providing an accurate and vibrant picture. Now, let's take a look at the internals. At the heart of the Switch is NVIDIA's Tegra X1 chip. This is what provides all the graphical and processing power for the Switch. It is an octo-core ARM-based CPU with a Maxwell-derived GPU. Thanks to this Maxwell GPU, the Switch is able to achieve 400 gigaflops of power when docked. As you can see, this easily tops the last generation of consoles, but is still 10 times less powerful than the PlayStation 4 Pro, and 15 times less powerful than an Xbox One X. The impressive thing about the Tegra X1 chip is that not only has it allowed the Switch to be the most powerful Nintendo console to date, but also the most compact, and all while only consuming a maximum of 10 watts when under stress. Adjacent to the X1 chip is 4GB of RAM, and on the opposite side is where you'll find the storage. The Switch has 32GB of solid state storage, and there is also a micro SD card slot under the kickstand to allow for further expansion. The great thing about the Switch is its versatility. Whether you're using it in portable mode, tabletop mode, or docked, the Switch adapts beautifully with its controller options. In terms of audio, the Switch has dual firing speakers located on the rear. While the placement isn't ideal, they sound fine and have a range from 0 decibels to around 65 decibels at max volume. Nintendo also had the courage to include a 3.5mm audio port at the top of the Switch for headphone use. The headphone jack has 15 steps and is average in terms of its power output. It won't power any high impedance headphones, but it should work well with most. Personally, I don't love the placement of the headphone jack. I wish it was located on the bottom. That's just my personal preference. But thankfully, the included USB Type-C port allows for audio output, which alleviates the issue. The USB Type-C port also allows for charging. The Switch has a 4,310 mAh lithium-ion battery and lasts around 3 to 4 hours. Lastly, I wanted to mention the operating system. It is minimalistic, uncomplicated, and it is perfect. Your games are right on the home screen, and there's no fussing around with multiple menus to get to your library. The eShop could use some work though, as it's fairly cluttered, but kudos to Nintendo for essentially having a sale nearly every week, as well as having clearly defined sections on the left-hand side. Now let's talk about the year Nintendo had. The Switch launched on March 3rd of 2017, and only with 12 games, with 7 of them being older ports, including the awesome Shovel Knight, and the remaining were actual new games. With only 5 new games, why was the Switch so successful at launch? Well, we all know the reason for that, but I personally think the diverse lineup, which included an easy party game, a nostalgic arcade game, and a surprise multiplayer gem, only helped bolster it. But the main reason why Nintendo's launch was so successful was Zelda Breath of the Wild. Zelda took the open world genre and flipped it on its head. With its unique mechanics and revolutionary mapping scheme, Zelda gave the player a sense of discovery unlike any game before it. Visually, Hyrule has never looked better, and the sound design of the game is perfect. Whether it's the tune of a piano when you solve a puzzle, an alarming horn giving your position away, or the melodic hum of Link while cooking a meal, the sound design is top notch. So Zelda was a pillar at launch that held the Switch as a must-own console. But what allowed the Switch to remain the #1 console for the remainder of the year? Well, in my opinion, I think there were 5 key games, including Zelda, that allowed Nintendo to remain in the lead, and they were released far enough apart to keep fans engaged and also convince anyone on the fence to pick one up as well. The next was the newly released IP ARMS. ARMS was released June 16th. Overall, ARMS was well received, and another successful new IP Nintendo can ride for years to come. The third key game was Mario plus Rabbids, which launched on August 29th. Once again, Mario worked his magic, and this quickly became one of Nintendo's best games of the year, and is my second favorite Switch game so far. While my favorite Switch game was released a few months later on October 27th, and that game was Super Mario Odyssey. This fourth key game for Nintendo was their best, and was an absolute joy to play. As much as I enjoyed Zelda, at times it felt like a chore. However, with Odyssey, every coin collected was a step toward a new outfit, every new Power Moon discovered was an achievement, and every boss defeated was a triumph. Never before have I been able to play a game for 15 minutes and get such a sense of accomplishment like I did with Super Mario Odyssey. The fifth, and probably most crucial key to Nintendo's success, was the third-party support they received. From EA and 2K Sports, they received some of the year's best sports games, including FIFA 17 and NBA 2K18. Bethesda was a huge Nintendo supporter as they brought us the very awesome Doom, as well as one of the most beloved RPGs ever made in Skyrim. Even Rockstar got into the fold as they released LA Noire on the Switch. Not only did Nintendo get great support from large developers, they also received some great indies such as the sci-fi point-and-click Oxenfree, the one-man armied Axiom Verge, and the enchantingly awesome Stardew Valley. Throw this on top of diverse multiplayer gems like Mario Kart 8, Rocket League, and a criminally underrated Overcooked, and Nintendo quietly put together one of the best first-year libraries of all time. But it's not all gumdrops and rainbows, as the Switch has some unforgivable flaws that still remain today. The first is still the lack of online support and achievement system. Nintendo has stated online functionality will be ready to roll this fall, but there is still no mention of any achievement system, which Xbox and PlayStation have both had for quite some time. The second thing is Bluetooth headphone support. Despite having Bluetooth 4.1 built in and the ability to connect up to 8 devices, the Switch still cannot connect to Bluetooth headphones because it is not supported. Hopefully Nintendo will patch this issue in 2018 and finally allow players to go wireless. The last major flaw is the lack of applications such as Netflix, YouTube, or Amazon Video. The good news is Hulu is now available on the Switch, so hopefully that means good things are to come in 2018. Speaking of 2018, let's take a look at the games that are coming. Nintendo held their direct conference last week and announced a few new titles, as well as some awesome third-party stuff too. Let's take a look at the third-party games and ports first. I'm personally excited for Little Nightmares, which is a side-scrolling platformer in the vein of Inside and Limbo. I played this on PC and it's an awesome, genuinely creepy game with a great soundtrack. It'll fit right at home on the Switch and even comes with all the downloadable content right out of the box. The next game I'm excited for is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I loved Crash growing up and never purchased this on the PS4 when it was remastered, so I cannot wait to pick this up on the Switch and have it on the go with me. Other games that I have yet to play but have me excited is Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Undertale, Okami HD, and Toad's Treasure Tracker. In terms of actual new games coming to the Switch, my most anticipated game this year is Yoshi. The gameplay and overall world design is very unique, and although it doesn't have an official release date, I'm hoping it gets one come E3, and I'm hoping it's this fall. In terms of games with an actual release date, Mario Tennis Aces, Travis Strikes Again, Octopath Traveler, and of course, Super Mario Smash Bros. Also have me extremely excited. Well, that's what I'm excited for. What are you excited for in 2018? Also, what was your favorite gaming moment on the Switch in 2017? Let me know in the comments below. And well, that's gonna wrap up this video. If you enjoyed this video, send me your likes. If you enjoyed my content, send me your subs. And as always, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.